Aquarius. There is a moment coming where one message, one voice, one memory could pull you right back into a life you already survived. Not because you're weak, but because your heart still remembers what your mind worked so hard to forget. You're standing at the edge of a choice that looks familiar, feels safe, and quietly threatens everything you've just rebuilt. This is not about the past. This is about the pattern you're about to repeat. And the universe is not shouting, it's whispering. Stop. Look. Choose differently. If you've felt this tension in your chest lately, leave a comment and say, "I'm ready." Because in just a moment, you're going to see why this is happening now and what it's truly asking you to release. And this is only the beginning. Aquarius, you didn't plan on hearing this tonight. It just found you. Like a quiet knock on the door of your chest. There is a reason this moment feels heavier than the others. Not louder, just deeper. Because something old is brushing against your present, and your spirit recognizes the weight before your mind can name it. You've changed since the last time this happened. You've grown in ways no one applauded. You learned how to carry silence without breaking. How to rebuild yourself in rooms that once held echoes. And yet, when that familiar energy returns, your body remembers before your heart has time to argue. It's not longing, it's not weakness. It's memory stored in the nervous system. The kind that wakes up when something unfinished passes nearby. You may tell yourself it's just coincidence, that timing is strange, that people drift in and out all the time, but deep inside you know. This doesn't feel random. This feels like a door you already closed, slowly creaking open again. There is a quiet part of you that still wonders what would happen if things were different now. If the story could finally resolve the way you once hoped. But Aquarius, hope can sound a lot like nostalgia when it's tired. And nostalgia is gentle, but it is not always truthful. You are not who you were back then. You are carrying more awareness now, more boundaries, more tenderness for your own heart. So when that energy approaches again, it doesn't meet the same version of you. It meets someone who has already survived the ending. That's why this moment feels sharp, not because it hurts, but because it matters. Because this time, your choice is not about love, it's about alignment. About whether you honor who you have become or return to who you had to be in order to endure. Sometimes the universe doesn't test us with strangers. It tests us with what once felt like home. And the hardest lesson is learning that comfort is not the same as belonging. You might notice your thoughts drifting back to old conversations, old promises, the sound of a voice you once trusted. Not because you want to go back, but because part of you wants to know if the door is still open. Here is the truth your spirit is trying to share. Some doors feel familiar because they lead to rooms where you learned important lessons. Not because you are meant to live there again. You are standing at a threshold that does not demand fear. It asks for clarity, for presence, for courage to choose forward even when backward feels warmer. So I'll ask you something gently, not to pressure you, but to wake the part of you that already knows. What would it feel like to finally close the door without looking back? To trust that the life waiting for you is not behind you, but quietly unfolding ahead. You don't have to decide right now. Just breathe into the knowing that this moment was never meant to trap you. It was meant to remind you how far you've come. And in just a moment, you'll begin to see what this cycle has been preparing you for, Aquarius. There is something tender about the way you hold space for others. It is quiet, invisible, yet it shapes entire lives. You have a way of becoming the calm in someone else's storm, the steady ground beneath their shaking. Not because you are trying to save them, but because your heart knows how to stay when things get hard. That is a rare gift. But sometimes, the very thing that makes you extraordinary is what draws the broken back to your door. They feel you before they see you. When the world stops making sense, when their own choices collapse beneath them, when they no longer know where they belong. They do not return because they have healed. They return because your energy still feels like home. You do not notice the pattern at first. It arrives disguised as coincidence, as timing, as destiny wearing a familiar face. And there is a part of you that still believes in redemption, in growth, in the miracle of change. Not because you are naive, but because you have seen what people can become when they are truly ready. So when they stand in front of you again, eyes full of apology, voice softened by regret, something inside you leans forward, not to go back, but to understand. Yet there is a difference between compassion and carrying someone else's unfinished life. You were never meant to be a shelter for those who refuse to build their own home. Still, you open the door. Not wide, just enough to listen. Because somewhere in your chest, there is a question you have never spoken out loud. What if this time is different? That question is not a weakness. It is the echo of your humanity. But Aquarius, there is a subtle truth hidden beneath it. People who are truly changing do not return to borrow your strength. They come back to offer their own. So if you notice that familiar weight settling into your shoulders again, if the same responsibilities quietly begin to lean on you, it may not be love calling. It may be dependency wearing a softer voice. You have spent years learning how to stand on your own, how to breathe through disappointment, how to find light when everything felt uncertain. You did that, not them. So when someone reaches for you again, ask yourself something gently. Do they see who you are now, or who you used to be when you were still carrying them? There is a difference, and it lives in the way your body responds, in the subtle tightening of your chest, in the pause before you answer. You are not here to rescue, you are here to evolve. And sometimes, evolution means loving without reopening old wounds. The most powerful thing you can offer now is not your sacrifice, it is your example. By choosing yourself, you are teaching others that growth is possible without being saved. You are showing them that strength does not come from leaning on another soul, but from standing inside your own. So when that familiar presence drifts close again, do not rush to decide. Just notice how your heart feels when you imagine staying. Then notice how it feels when you imagine moving forward. Which one carries more light? And in the quiet space between those two feelings, you may begin to hear what your spirit has been waiting to say. Aquarius, there is a quiet ache behind your smile tonight. Not the kind that asks for attention, but the kind that lingers when the world finally goes still. You carry it gently, as if it were something fragile, as if naming it might make it real. You tell yourself you are fine, that you have learned, that you have grown, and you have. In ways no one saw, in ways that changed you forever. But loving deeply leaves fingerprints on the soul, not scars, impressions, soft places where memory still breathes. You are not longing for who they are now. Your heart does not recognize that version. What it reaches for is the echo of who they were before the light in their eyes dimmed, before disappointment found its way into the spaces you once shared, before the laughter became careful, before love learned how to ache. That is the part that still calls you, not the present, the past that felt alive. Yet every time you pause, your body reminds you, the heaviness in your chest, the quiet resistance in your breath, the sense that something inside you does not want to return. You are tired in a way sleep cannot heal, tired of holding yourself together while pretending it does not cost you anything. You have been strong for so long that you forgot how it feels to be held instead of holding. There is a moment late at night when the house is quiet and your thoughts wander to places you do not visit during the day. That is when the truth rises. You no longer feel like yourself when you imagine going back. Not because you do not care, but because you have changed. Your spirit has outgrown the story that once defined you. Still, part of you hesitates, not because you want the pain again, but because you fear what life looks like without that familiar chapter. The unknown can feel colder than the past, even when the past was heavy. So you stand in this in-between place, not broken, just unsure. There is no shame in that. It means your heart is alive. But Aquarius, you are allowed to choose a future that does not require you to shrink back into an older version of yourself. You are allowed to honor what was without returning to what no longer fits. Love does not disappear when you walk away. It transforms. It becomes wisdom. It becomes compassion. It becomes strength. And sometimes, it becomes a quiet goodbye that finally brings peace. So let me ask you something softly, not to rush you, but to help you listen. If the past were a room and the future a wide open window, where does your breath feel lighter? You do not have to answer out loud. Just notice what your heart whispers when you imagine choosing yourself. There is a gentler life waiting for you. One where you are not constantly bracing for loss. One where your light is not dimmed by old shadows. You are closer than you think. And as you sit with this feeling, you may begin to sense why this moment has found you now. Aquarius, there is a tiredness that lives deeper than your body. Not exhaustion from effort, but from repeating a story you already know by heart. It shows up in quiet ways, in the pause before you answer, in the way your shoulders drop when you think about starting over with the same ending. You tell yourself you can handle it, that you have before, that you are strong enough. And you are. But strength was never meant to be a cage. There is a rhythm you have been moving to for a long time, not because you choose it, but because it feels familiar. Like walking a path at night where you already know where the stones are. You leave. They reach for you. They promise. Your heart opens, and slowly the ground gives way again. Not because you are blind, but because hope is one of your deepest instincts. You believe in potential. You believe in transformation. You believe in second chances, but hope cannot carry someone who refuses to walk beside you. Every time the cycle returns, it takes something small from you, a little trust, a little light, a little space in your chest, until one day you notice you are no longer dreaming the same dreams. You are surviving them. There is a quiet grief in that, not for the person, but for the version of yourself who believed love would be enough. You are not foolish for that. It means your heart is alive. It means you have depth. But there comes a moment when depth must be met with direction, because staying in the same place while hoping for a different ending is not devotion. It is delay. You feel it now, do you not? That subtle resistance in your breath, that sense that something inside you is asking for air. This is not about giving up. It is about waking up. About seeing that some doors keep reopening not to invite you back in, but to show you how much you have outgrown the room. The soul grows tired of lessons that have already been learned, and yours is ready for something new. So let me ask you, gently, if nothing changed this time, would you still be willing to stay? Or is there a part of you that is finally ready to choose peace over possibility? You do not have to answer yet. Just notice what your heart does when you imagine not repeating the story. There is a freedom waiting in that pause, a lightness you have not felt in a long time. And as you begin to sense it, you may realize that the end of this cycle is not a loss. It is the beginning of your return to yourself. It does not arrive with thunder. It does not break the sky or stop the world. It comes quietly, almost politely. A vibration in your pocket, a name lighting up your screen, a voice you once knew better than your own. And in that single second, your heart does something strange. It forgets the nights you cried in the dark. It forgets how small you felt when you tried to be enough. It only remembers the warmth, the hope, the version of love that once felt like home. Aquarius. This is the moment no one prepares you for. Because it does not feel dramatic, it feels familiar, and familiarity is powerful. It makes the past look safer than the unknown. You stand still, between who you were and who you are becoming. The universe does not rush you here. It watches, it waits. Your ruling planet moves through silence before it brings change, just like you. You do not explode into new lives. You drift into them, softly, almost without noticing. And this is why this moment matters more than any heartbreak before it. Because this time, you are not choosing them. You are choosing yourself. There is a future trying to reach you. Not loud, not demanding. Just waiting for you to notice that you no longer fit inside old pain. The stars do not repeat lessons to punish you. They repeat them until you finally see your worth. What if this moment is not about love at all, but about the courage to stop abandoning yourself? What if the message is not a door back, but a mirror showing you how far you have come? You feel the pull, the ache, the echo of something that once mattered. But beneath it, there is something new. A steadiness, a quiet strength, a sense that your soul is tired of circles. You have spent years giving people chances to become better. Now the universe is asking if you are ready to give yourself one. And maybe for the first time, you are. This path forward does not sparkle yet. It does not promise comfort, but it holds truth. And truth grows roots that pain never could. You are not walking away from love. You are walking toward a version of yourself that no longer needs to beg for it. There is a life waiting where your heart is not in survival mode, where peace is not a reward but a daily reality. This moment is not about choosing the right person. It is about choosing the right direction. So take a breath. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel the quiet power in your chest. You already know the answer. You just have to trust that the future can love you better than the past ever could. The silence after that moment feels strange at first. Not empty, not heavy, just still. For the first time, you let the phone rest in your hand without answering. For the first time, you do not rush to explain your feelings. For the first time, you do not trade your peace for the comfort of being chosen. and something inside you exhales. It is quiet in a way you have never known before. Not the lonely quiet, the honest quiet. The kind that sounds like your own heartbeat returning to its natural rhythm. Aquarius, this is where your power has been waiting. Not in proving your loyalty, not in enduring storms that were never yours to fix, but in recognizing that love should never cost you your sense of self. You are not becoming colder, you are becoming clearer. There is a difference. You have spent so long being the safe place for others that you forgot what it feels like to be safe within yourself. You kept your door open because you believed that was love. But sometimes love is closing the door gently, so your spirit can finally rest. Your ruling energy does not belong to the past. It belongs to the future, to open skies, to new ideas, to lives that feel aligned rather than forced. And now, you feel it. A quiet excitement, a subtle spark beneath your ribs, not for another person, for the life you are finally ready to build. There will be moments when doubt whispers, when you wonder if you were too hard, too distant, too strong. But ask yourself softly, have you ever felt more like yourself than you do right now? You are learning that boundaries are not walls. They are bridges to a healthier version of you. They protect the part of your soul that once believed pain was the price of connection. And now you know better. The universe is not asking you to stop loving. It is inviting you to love from a place that does not bleed. Every time you choose yourself, you shift the future. Every time you honor your truth, you teach the world how to treat you. This is not selfish. This is sacred. There is a calm settling into your bones, a knowing that you no longer need to chase echoes. You are becoming the source of the love you once searched for. And somewhere ahead, a different kind of connection is forming. One that meets you without taking from you. One that recognizes your light instead of dimming it. But before it arrives, there is this moment, this quiet victory, this first true choice. You are not turning away from the past. You are stepping toward a future where you no longer disappear inside other people's needs. So breathe. Stand tall in this new version of you. Feel how steady you have become. This is not the end of your story. It is the place where it finally begins. There is a strange kind of light in the air now. Not loud, not blinding, just enough to show you where you are standing. You feel it before you understand it. A gentle sense that something new is forming around you, not outside of you, within you. Aquarius, when you stopped carrying what was never yours, your soul finally had room to stretch. You do not feel responsible for fixing broken stories anymore. You are learning that your heart is not a shelter for storms that refuse to end. And in this quiet space, something sacred begins to grow. Peace does not arrive like a celebration. It arrives like a slow sunrise, soft, steady, certain. You start waking up without that familiar weight on your chest. Your breath feels deeper. Your thoughts feel clearer. Your laughter comes back without effort. You notice how different the world feels when you are not bracing for impact. How your body no longer flinches at the sound of a message. How your spirit feels safe inside its own skin. This is the life that was waiting for you all along. Respect begins to surround you in small, quiet ways, in conversations that do not drain you, in connections that do not demand you disappear to keep them alive, in people who meet you where you stand, instead of pulling you backward. You are no longer chasing intensity. You are choosing stability. Not because you are tired of feeling, but because you finally understand what real connection should feel like. There will be a new love one day, not the kind that needs to be rescued, not the kind that confuses pain with passion, but one that feels like home, warm, grounded, honest. And before that love arrives, there is a deeper one already here, the one you are building with yourself. Every time you choose rest instead of chaos, you rewrite your future. Every time you honor your boundaries, you teach your nervous system that it is safe now. The old door behind you is slowly closing, not with anger, not with regret, but with gratitude for what it taught you. You do not need to look back. The chapter has already given you everything it could. Ahead, the road feels open, not perfect, not predictable, but filled with possibility. You were never meant to live inside someone else's shadow. You were born to walk beneath your own sky. So tell me, Aquarius, what would your life look like if you truly believed you deserved peace? Stand in this moment. Feel the calm settling into your bones. Let yourself trust what is unfolding. The future is not asking you to run. It is inviting you to arrive. And for the first time in a long time, you are ready to say yes. There is a stillness around you now, not empty, not heavy, just quietly alive. It feels like standing at the edge of a long night, watching the first light appear on the horizon. Nothing needs to be forced anymore. Nothing needs to be proven. Aquarius, if these words have found you, it is not by accident. You did not wander here. You were guided here. Because somewhere inside you, there is a part that still believes in something better. A part that has been whispering in the dark, asking for a new way forward. You have not gone too far. Not in love, not in your mistakes, not in the choices you once made just to survive. There is still time. Time to soften, time to rebuild, time to return to yourself. The universe does not keep score the way we think it does. It does not punish. It teaches. It waits. And right now, it is waiting for you to step into who you were always meant to be. You may still feel the pull of what once was, that familiar ache, that echo of a life you tried so hard to hold together. But listen closely. That door is not calling you back. It is closing gently, so your hands can finally be free. You are not here to repeat the same story in different faces. You are here to write something new, something honest, something that feels like home in your own heart. There is a future that already recognizes you, a version of you that is lighter, stronger, at peace. They are waiting on the other side of your courage. Every breath you take now is a new beginning. Every moment you choose yourself, you realign with your purpose. You are allowed to walk away from what breaks you. You are allowed to want more. You are allowed to grow beyond who you used to be. This is not selfish. This is sacred. So if you are still listening, let this be the moment you promise yourself something different. Let this be the moment you stop abandoning your own heart. What would change in your life if you truly believed you deserved to be loved without pain? Stand here for just one more breath. Feel your strength. Feel your worth. Feel the future opening quietly before you. You are not behind. You are right on time. This time, choose you. And now, just stay here with me for a moment. Let everything you heard settle into your chest. Not as a lesson, not as a warning, but as a quiet remembering. Aquarius, you did not come this far to circle back into pain. You came here to rise into a new version of yourself, one who chooses peace over chaos, truth over illusion, self-love over survival. Tonight, the universe is not asking you to be perfect. It is only asking you to be honest, honest with your heart, honest with what you can no longer carry. There is a shift happening in you right now. You may not see it yet, but you can feel it. It is the sound of a door closing behind you, and another one opening softly ahead. You are not alone in this. There are thousands of Aquarians across the world feeling this same awakening. Different stories, same courage, same soul. If something in this message touched you, leave a comment and say, "I choose me." Let your voice meet the voices of others walking this path with you. And if you want to stay connected to these messages, subscribe, because this is not the end. This is the beginning of a deeper journey. More clarity is coming, more truth, more healing. Trust yourself now. You are exactly where you need to be. The next message is already on its way.